Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the 2-in-1 Golf Podcast. Sterling, Madison, and Mike here. Gentlemen, how's it going?
It's good, Mike. It's going to be a big week. We've got the players this week. A couple announcements coming out from Jay Monahan today. And you and I got a little bit of a trip this weekend. We're going to go down to the Outer Banks, see if we can survive 54 holes of golf with our current, I'd say, half of a back, maybe put together.
Maybe
So it's
between
it's
us,
going
we
to be an
have half a
interesting week.
back.
I think so. I think we put the spine together. We may be good, but something that Sterling doesn't have to worry about being as young as he is. So, Sterling, how are you doing this week?
I'm actually aching a little bit myself. Went go karting last night. I forgot to tell you.
I
I know
saw
you're an
that.
F1 fan. Oh, okay. Sorry.
Shout out Ed.
Yeah, shout out to Ed and Brittany. But yeah, sitting in those little carts, my left knee is shot. But other than that, I'm doing great.
Do those so are like your knees up in that, or do you actually get to stretch your legs all the way out?
I'm a short guy. I'm only 5'9" on a good day, and my knees were still shooting out like that. I don't know how to explain it. They were at maybe I'm not good at math either, but some sort of angle, and it was very uncomfortable. Some of the seats are adjustable in those carts, but in the ones we had last night, they were not. Um, so yeah, you would have
Sounds
struggled
like
for sure.
I'm sure.
You
Sounds
being
like
like 6'4",
you weren't very aerodynamic in there. Not I'd probably not an
listen,
ideal
hey,
car that Adrian Newey would put out from Red Bull, but it's all right.
I'm also gonna say this: like, I got dusted. I went with Justin and Ed, and Ed's got me by like maybe 30, 40 pounds, and Justin's got me by 90. I was definitely losing some lap times out there to those two guys.
Hmm. How fast do those cars go?
I don't know. They advertise them at 40.
Well,
I
but
don't
in a
know if I,
tight space, I feel like that's moving.
yeah, but
So,
I don't know if I believe that it's actually 40.
so wait a minute. Our team's professional driver was losing to some rank amateurs. I realize it's not your usual, your usual vehicle, but still.
Yeah, I'm typically a straight line guy.
Yeah, Mike, that's it's a little bit different. He has to turn right and left in this one. This is
Oh, is that
it's
it?
not hold the wheel.
Once you make them turn, then
That's
it
the
all
difference.
it all goes downhill. I gotcha. I gotcha.
Hmm.
Exactly.
Go karts are super fun though. Madison, you've never driven go karts before?
Oh no, I have.
Okay.
We used to tear them up down at the beach, and I mean, in the Outer Banks, they used to be, gosh, I would say
Hmm.
every mile and a half, there would be a different
At
one.
least.
Um, I remember it's probably been uh, close to 10 years now, maybe not that long. They opened a new one pretty close to our place down there, and they did not have the correct speeds on them. Those things were wide open. I mean, people were flying, and I remember we were like, man, these things are just. I mean, we're cooking around here. And then I saw this lady just take a turn and almost, I mean, just T-boned the barrier, and she almost came out of that thing. And I was like, that's probably the end of this. And then the next week we went down there, and they were definitely throttled a lot. I think I would probably going half the speed they were there. So um, I did have a moment. I felt like I was in F1, but it quickly went away.
Nice. Very nice. Glad to hear nobody got hurt seriously in that one though before they decided to turn the governors on those. I can only imagine those things running flat out though. That's got to be scary.
I mean, it was tons of fun.
Good deal. Good deal. So, a couple weeks on tour to wrap up the Cognizant Classic, the former Honda Classic. It'll always be the Honda to me. But Austin Eckroat is your winner in a rain lengthened, drenched, soggy, messy, sloppy. Nobody could read a weather report kind of a weekend, and but Eckroat gets his first win on tour. So good performance by him. But otherwise very inspiring. I mean, I don't know that it really moved. It moved a whole lot of people, to be quite honest.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely deep in the field. But I mean, definitely great for him. I think Sterling and I were talking, or we were all talking about this before we came on. He was one of the players I guess the PGA Tour is following in the fall series.
Hmm.
Just kind of his battle to get on tour full time and have. Was it ranking? Like you get into better events. Is that what they were kind of going for? I know they were also trying to keep their card too. Um, but good to see someone come out of that and get their tour card, and yeah, get it done on a Monday too.
Yeah, I don't know if you watched any of the Monday coverage, but man, watching professional golf with nobody on the course is, I mean, it was kind of like that live tournament that I was at on a Thursday, just total dead vibe.
Mike throwing shots already this
You
early in the
know,
podcast.
somebody's got to take them. Somebody's got to take a big swing.
Yeah, I mean, it's just if you're the PGA Tour, like it is what it is. Like you have no other option.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, you got to wonder though. Seriously, the weather was predicted, and they didn't try to get him out early. Didn't try to double team. Didn't try to put him out in threesomes and squeeze it in. I mean, God, Eric Van Rooyen, they almost had to drive him from Seminole back to Palm Beach. If Eckroat hadn't been able to get it done and had gone to a playoff, how would that have been? Other than hilarious, which I think it would have been hilarious.
I was hoping my boy Minwoo could potentially send it to a playoff. I was waiting for Eckroat to just maybe, hit one ball into the water, and he never did. It was very solid coming down the stretch.
It was, and I feel like Minwoo, it was one of those situations like he didn't lose, he just ran out of holes. If it had kept going another 9 holes, I think he could have caught him.
Yeah, I agree on that. Speaking of that, I kind of want to get into our picks. We may have to put in I don't know what you want to call it. Maybe we'll call it the Minwoo rule. But Sterling has picked Minwoo almost every week that we've been making picks so far. There may be a couple weeks that you haven't, but I think almost every other week we've picked Minwoo. I think I'm going to have you mix it up just a little bit and pick somebody new.
I do it for you. I hope you know that.
What do you do it for me?
Because you refuse to pick your favorite player, like just at all. The people would never know who your favorite player is.
We've talked about who my favorite player and several players. There's a couple of good players that I like. Kashmir Keith, one of them. Max Homa is
Mike,
one of them.
well, I was gonna say Mike. What's his favorite player? And
His favorite
see
player
if
is Max
Mike,
Homa.
even
I do know his favorite player is Max Homa, but you wouldn't think it with the way he makes his picks.
right.
Look,
I try to be true to my guy, but still mix it up a little bit.
Listen, I'm here for the people, and our picks, sponsored by FanDuel, are here for the people. So, I can't just throw out my favorite player every single week. I have to go with my gut and who I think can make the biggest impact. So, I apologize, but
That's what I'm
doing
doing.
it for.
You finished T2. Like, what do you want? What more do you? I have the highest finish so far this year. Like, what do you want from me?
You are riding a hot streak, though. You know, we need to let you cook, Sterling. We will just let you cook. How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Mike.
Oh my gosh, I don't think anybody did much cooking last week in our picks.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't even know who I think I took Minwoo, but
you did.
Decent start, decent Friday, and then fizzled.
Yeah, the weekend was it was kind of the opposite. So I had Aubert this week and struggled Thursday, Friday, barely made the cut. Came back Saturday and Sunday. I think finished in the top 20, maybe T23. I can't remember. Minwoo struggled on the weekend, and I think he finished in 40th, somewhere around there. And then
like 44th or something.
Mike, who did you have this week? I think they're somewhere in between.
I don't want to say
the two.
I really don't want to say. because
Oh
it
no,
started
you
out
had
so nicely. It started out so nicely.
Hovland?
Yeah, I had the Hav.
no. Oh yeah,
I had the
and that,
Hav.
you know what? I wanted Hovland to start. Mike took that pick, so
I did.
I'm glad it
I
worked out
snaked
that way
it.
for you.
I snaked it on you, and 71-69. We were looking good. We were trending. 75-75 is just honestly the toughest of scenes, and it's not going to get it done.
Well,
T36 not going to get it done.
I'm gonna say that's not the toughest of scenes because at the Cognizant I took Eric Cole, and that was what all of the analysts were saying. He was going to be the best one to take, and I want to say, finished dead last, if not maybe two above dead last. So
Did
that could have
he?
been the worst pick I've ever made. I want to say
Okay.
he was like 142.
Ouch.
Um,
Ouch.
yeah, so I have banished Eric Cole. I will never be picking him again, unfortunately. That one hurt. That one
One bad
was a little
week.
depressing to
One
say.
bad week.
Miss a cut, like missed the cut by a shot. Yeah, maybe an off week, even though the course set up
Mhm.
perfectly for you and everything was pointing towards you being a favorite. I think he finished in second last year, and I mean, what a 180. So
Yeah. What a difference a year makes. But sometimes a year doesn't make a difference, guys.
yep.
Sometimes we just run it back. And Scotty runs it back at Bay Hill in Mr. Palmer's
You
tournament.
sure? Runs it back? Are you saying like back to back?
Oh, wait, that's right. It was 2 years ago, right?
Kurt Kitayama.
Kurt Kitayama was last year. Well, we don't even count that. Did that even happen? That might have been a simulation.
He really hasn't done anything
My-
since.
Exactly. That's my point exactly. I think it was just a simulation. That one, it slipped by, it slipped by the quality engineers. But I think we're back on track now with the API. What
Mike,
a
this is a bad time
performance.
to let you know that we're having Kurt Kitayama on the pod next week.
The project himself, we've got the project on the pod. That's fantastic. Then I will ask him personally, is he a real golfer or is he just a simulation?
I think the kids are saying they're NPCs now.
Yeah. Non-playing characters. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
But yeah, when Scotty's putting, it's pretty scary for the rest of the field. The fact that I don't know who you guys are going to pick this week, I guarantee you one of us will have Scotty Scheffler on our Instagram story this week.
I think that's an absolute lock that one of us is going to have him. I think it's just a question of who gets their pick in first.
And I think it's got to be Madison, because whenever I think Scotty Scheffler, I go back to our podcast after he. It was the week before Waste Management last year,
Mm-hmm.
and Mike and I just had some choice words for Scotty Scheffler, and what has he been up to? Where has he been? Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I forgot. I think I said I forgot he was on tour.
You forgot. Yeah, I think he was the forgotten man. But I think that fired him up. I think that was the bulletin board material that he needed. And then he went on a tear.
I don't think I should be allowed to pick Scotty Scheffler for the rest of my 2-1 career.
No, I don't think you're allowed. Sorry.
I don't know. I think there's always a chance for redemption. Everybody likes a comeback story. But yeah, I mean, guys, was he just a men among boys yesterday? It looked too easy for him and so difficult for everyone else.
It really did, and I guess the question is with Scotty, is it a tool issue or is it a mental issue? Obviously, with the change to the mallet putter, which potentially was sparked by Rory McIlroy's comment, is that going to fix him, or is it still a mental issue for him? Because like we were talking about earlier, when he switched to the Olsen putter, he came out really hot with it, and then the following week it was ice cold and kind of back and forth until he made the switch again. So yeah, I really want to pick Scotty this week in the hopes that it's a mental thing that has been fixed, and it doesn't matter what putter he has in his hand anymore. But hopefully the mallet will help it.
He looked freed up on the short putts. I mean, that was the big
I
thing
mean,
to me, is those kind of short mid putts. There was no hesitation. You know, didn't look like he was struggling to get comfortable. Wasn't taking a whole lot of time over him. It looked free and easy, and that was frankly kind of frightening. I think that he looked
that
like he
was
was in the
the
zone.
that was the part of his game that was always the streakiest. I think inside a couple
Hmm.
feet, because I mean
Hmm.
the long bombs he was making pretty frequently, and I think I'm trying to remember who made the comment. They were asked about Scotty's putting, and he had made I think like a 30-footer or a 40-footer, and they're like that he's probably so good at because he thinks it's an iron shot because it's so far away. Because Scotty's always been so good with his iron, so it's those little ones that always kind of get you
I think that
shaking in
was
your hands a little bit,
JT.
especially if it's JT. Okay, so I mean, if he
Hmm.
can master that and get those, you know, to just no hesitation, then I think we're going to see a really good performance out of him at the Players.
Yeah. Do you think the presence of Rom was really missed this week? What we
Yeah, I
saw.
did.
Yeah, I mean, what we saw Scotty do was masterful, but I don't know. I just couldn't help but wondering, man, if Rom was here, would it be a duel? Would it be even better? Would we have a duel on our hands? And I was missing it. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, if Scotty's putting like this, we're basically watching, the Miami Heat in 2012 and 2013, and
Hmm.
without Rom, and there's just really no competition. So it's tough because we could potentially get to a point where Scotty's winning, you know, 33% of his starts. And it's almost, again, it's kind of like Max Verstappen right now in F1. Like, what's going to happen as soon as they start.
Just go ahead and start the Dutch national anthem. Put it on repeat. That's what we've seen so far. Yeah, I mean, I think I would have liked to see him battle somebody. I mean, if not Rom, maybe Rory really kind of step up and take a run at it this weekend. I'd love to see them kind of go, shot for shot on that. But yeah, I mean, anytime that you're missing one of those heavyweights in a tournament like this, it's always tough.
Yeah,
To go
absolutely.
back to our, oh, sorry, Mike, but to go back to Madison's question, mental or the wand, I think it's 100% mental. And I've kind of been in Scotty's position, obviously not as drastic or important as his, but I mean, you miss one putt, it can all go downhill from there.
Yeah, it definitely can. I mean, especially if you let it get to you. And I can only imagine when you're playing for something that you care about, how it's just got to eat at you when that happens. And that's what makes, I mean, honestly, to me, that's what makes this performance so impressive, is that he just looked so freed up. And it was kind of like, what do you mean I've been putting like garbage for the last year plus? No, I'm you know, it didn't look fluky. It didn't look, they weren't going in the sides. They weren't lipping in. They were rolling in dead center with perfect pace. So if that's going to continue, it's going to be scary. It's definitely going to be scary for the rest of the field. So another good finish from Wyndham Clark. I think quietly starting to assert himself as one of the better players in the game. I think
Yeah, I mean,
he could be someone to watch this weekend.
yeah, and you bring up Wyndham, and I think it's a perfect time to hop into the Netflix show, Full Swing.
Mhm.
Um, he, I don't know what number episode, but him and Joel Damon were an episode, and I wasn't the biggest fan of Wyndham Clark when he won the U.S. Open. I knew he had won the Wells Fargo a few weeks prior, but I think everyone was kind of pulling for Ricky, so that kind of gave him that. I don't want to say villain, um, like look or whatever, but that's basically what it was. Like no one wanted him to win, and I kind of disliked him after that. But watching that episode of Netflix and watching, I didn't realize how big of a hothead he was. Mental coach gets his game back together, and he's won three out of his. I think he's won 3 times in his last 10 months, and they've been some really huge events. I think they've all been an elevated event, and one was a major. Um, yeah, he's definitely turning in the right direction. The jailbird putter. You, question for you guys: has Scotty putted with a jailbird?
Has he or will he?
Has he?
No.
You don't think at home, just like in the corner, he's got a jailbird arm lock?
No. I think
You think
Scotty
he's
is a very traditional guy, and that's why he struggled so long to even move to a mallet. He likes the blade look. But I think the Spider X or whatever he's in now is probably as crazy as he'll go. I don't think so.
I don't know. I mean, I think he's the kind of guy who at some point, and he finally reached that point, he's going to do what he's got to do to win. And is a jailbird next? I hope not. But you never know. I think you never know if it's going to get the ball in the hole. Why are you gonna? I mean, once you've gone to the Spider, really. I mean, is there what's worse? The
Center,
lab.
center shaft.
The
Hey, let's break it down if you really want to get into it. So everyone starts the blade, right? You miss a few putts, then you go into a mallet. You miss a few of those, you try out a center shaft. Miss a couple of those, you might get some sort of counterbalance lab style putter where they make it seem like it's impossible for you to miss. You start messing with that. Then you go to something that's locking into your body, whether it's a wrist lock, arm lock, doesn't matter. And then the last stage is you get something crazy, like all of the above, where it's a center shafted arm lock putter that's counterbalanced all the way through the club.
well, and then you just go broomstick like Zalatoris.
There you go. Yeah.
That's
And
the Frankenstein. That's the center shafted lab
center
putter broomstick.
broomstick.
What do you call it when they like instead of putting it like this, they like drag it, like
Oh,
almost like a shuffleboarding motion.
Yeah.
this is that the side saddle putting? Is that the one you're talking about?
Nah, maybe. I don't know. I thought they were dragging it across the ground. I don't
Like
know.
like pushing the ball instead of actually putting it.
Yeah.
I think you call that illegal. I mean, you
Sounds like a
can't
different sport.
you can't push the ball. That sounds more like, I don't know. No, it's not
Well, you're
curling.
not
I
like
guess it's not curling. It's more like shuffleboard, but
I wouldn't say you're. I guess yeah. It can definitely get to pushing, but yeah.
I mean, is there any
Surprised no one
stage
on
is there
tour.
any stage beyond that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised no one is righty but puts lefty. I've known a few guys, just like in general, like they hit everything right-handed and then they putt lefty.
There's a guy on
Hmm.
tour in the 80s who used to do that. Mac O'Grady
Oh yeah, yeah.
used to do that. That's a different kind of crazy. I mean, that's like a whole other realm of crazy.
Yeah, but Wyndham Clark has been playing well.
30 minutes later. Yeah, I was going to ask you about Full Swing and about some of the episodes. Was there anyone on any of the episodes that maybe changed your perspective of them, or kind of the way that I don't know, maybe the way you thought of them or the way you perceived their game throughout? I mean, some of them are pretty mainstream players, don't get me wrong, but of course, you have like Wyndham Clark in there and Joel Damon, and some are the quieter guys on tour as far as wins go. But anybody that really kind of stood out to you?
Mike, you want to go first or second here? Because I got a couple players I could list off.
You go ahead and go.
All right. I'm going to have my rainy players who I think potentially look worse after the show came out, and then the positive upside sunny players. I think JT Jordan, Ricky, and Zach Johnson look pretty rough. Especially Zach Johnson having those guys over for dinner and they're buttering him up like a biscuit. I think that's a tough look. Joel Damon, I want to let it sit a little bit longer. I didn't like the way his episode looked. We talked about it and probably made some inappropriate jokes about it earlier about how it was like an AA thing. But like, yeah, I mean, like you play golf for a living, you're top 200 or whatever he is now in the world. Just go out, work on your game, stop drinking so much. That's kind of how I view it. But again, that's from my perspective. So those are the players I think look pretty, bad after this. And then on the positive side, I think the Fitzpatrick family look really good after this series comes out because Matt Fitzpatrick was on the show last year, won the U.S. Open. It was great, huge for his career. And now this year you bring in Alex, his little brother, and it's all about in the shadows is what I think the name of the episode is, and Alex is trying to play his way out of his brother's shadow, and it's tough because Matt started the year winning the RBC Heritage, which was that an elevated event this year in
Last year it was.
2023.
In
Okay, yeah.
2023 it was. Yeah.
So he beats Jordan, elevated
Mm-hmm.
event. The family's there. He's cheering. It's all great. And then literally the next week, they go to the Zurich. And the talk of the town is if they win that event, Alex is on tour. He gets a 2-year exemption, and he didn't really earn it. He got it off the back of his brother. But, you know, at the end, Alex plays well at the British Open after qualifying on his own merit. Or his own skill, and then plays well in the Open Championship. And I think he got a was it a top 5 finish?
No, it was. He
Top
kind of
10?
faded on the final
Mm.
day. He finished T17, so top 20,
Oh,
but still legit finish. Top 20 in a major is
right.
not bad.
Got his name out there, did some interviews. People were cheering for him. And it's funny, like one of the things that sticks with me at the end of that episode is they're walking on the bridge to go to like the player lounge or whatever. And a lady could have been staged, but a lady goes like, "Hey, nice job out there, Alex." And he goes, "Thanks, cheers, whatever." And then she goes, "You too, Matt," as like kind of an afterthought.
That was perfect.
So I thought that was pretty good.
That was
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah, I really liked that episode. I did. You had to wonder if the Zurich thing was really a great idea for Alex, or if his time wouldn't have been better served playing on the Challenge Tour in Europe. Trying to get his DP World Tour card, and trying to earn his way there. But I think that the story, especially with his performance in the Open Championship, really kind of turned it around and kind of tied everything together. And you couldn't help but root for the guy. You know, my my picks for worst Worst impression coming out are pretty much the same as yours. Honestly, I think my winners for the series are Wyndham Clark's mental coach and Gino Bonnaly is the MVP, I think, of Full Swing. If you're not going to pick Rory, who is the king of golf when you watch Full Swing, I think Gino probably comes off better than absolutely anybody in that. And if he didn't have 20 guys calling him to take their bag after that episode, then what are we even doing here? Because I would want that guy caddying for me.
Yeah, I agree, and I think most of the ones you guys mentioned are kind of my standouts too. I thought the Keegan Bradley episode was pretty good. I mean, Keegan Bradley's been around for a while. Definitely had his fair share of struggles after they went to the anchoring ban and basically had to completely change his putting style. I thought that call between Zach and Keegan was, I don't know, that was kind of, I was cringing at that. It just felt, it felt so awkward just because you saw the backstory and you saw everything beforehand with Zach and Jordan and Justin at the Open, and they're, I guess, sharing a house or whatever they're doing. And you mentioned that they were buttering up, and they literally showed a clip in there where someone was buttering bread. So I don't know if you picked up on that or not, but I didn't think that was a good look for any of them. Felt really bad for Keegan getting that call, but for him staying or basically watching and cheering them on, and when it was going on, was pretty good. I don't know if that was for TV or if that was genuine, but either way, it made him look really good. The one big takeaway and the one thing I thought was really great, and I don't understand how Netflix was able to get this shot, but no one else was, the exchange between Joe LaCava, Rory, and Shane Lowry. Like I mean, they dubbed it, like you saw the subtitles, you saw what everybody was saying, you heard it, and I was like, this is literally what I've been waiting for since the Ryder Cup. Like, I've always wanted to know what was said. There's been a lot of speculation. I just want to know what was said in that situation. And all we saw was photos, people's hands on people's shoulders. We saw the video of Rory basically screaming, and everyone trying to force him into the car. I really just wanted to know what happened. So kudos to Netflix for finally getting that out for all of us to see. That was pretty good for sure.
Yeah, it was good to get a little bit more closure on that, I guess. Is the best way to put it. How does NBC not show that? How are Netflix's cameras getting it and not NBC's? I don't get that at all. And it's easy to continue to knock NBC for their coverage and all those sorts of things, but yeah, it's just kind of shocking that we had to wait, 6 months to find out, because that was definitely one of the best stories in golf. Almost thought you might see shirtless Rory again.
Oof. Talk about a tough look there.
That was a tough look, but I mean, he had that crazy look in his eye. He had that same crazy look in his eye. And yeah, I mean, getting to relive that, and I thought you still, even though it was recorded, like, is he gonna throw down here? Are people gonna be coming to blows?
Do you think?
I wish we would have gotten a little more clarity into what was going on in that video of him shouting at Bones.
Bones,
one piece that we're missing right there. That's the last piece of the story, is how did Bones get involved? Because it didn't seem like Bones was saying a lot, but Rory was definitely saying a lot to Bones. So I just
didn't Rory just say like Bones was the first American team person that he saw, and then he just kind of went at him?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what he said, but I'd love to know the back and forth, the conversation, what he had to say there.
Bones had that look of the Little League umpire that's getting absolutely blown up by a parent, and he's just trying to get into his Camry and get the heck out of the parking lot. That's all he's trying to do. And he knows he's just in the wrong place at the wrong time. The guy's kid went 0 for 4 and had a couple errors, and he's blaming it on the ump, and the ump just wants to get the you-know-what out of there and get home. And he's getting absolutely torched by some insane parent.
That's a pretty good analogy.
Yeah, I mean, you had to feel for Bones again when you saw that scene. I mean, you can see the look on his face. He's like, "Man, I don't need this. I do not need this." But
Do you think LaCava saying like LaCava and Shane Lowry when they were like we get it, you're doing it for the crowd, like it's a part of the experience. Does that kind of ruin it for you all? Like he was really just playing to the crowd a little bit. Like there was no real harm. And Shane was like, I was there at Whistling Straits last year or the 2 years ago. Like I get it.
I think he was really referring to more of what Joe was doing, not so much as like the back and forth between Shane and Rory. I think he was basically saying like, I understand what it feels like to be down and maybe have a good win or something like that, and you're kind of playing to the crowd, but I think he was still kind of saying like, you just took it too far. Like you stood in his line too long. You didn't give him that same opportunity. I think he was trying to diffuse it a little bit because I think he could see that something was about to get out of hand, but I don't know. It doesn't really ruin it for me. I kind of figured that's what it was just from the photos and the video I saw of that exchange. It seemed very mellow. But if you heard Shane Lowry's comment afterwards, after Joe left, I mean, he had some choice words for him afterwards. So
he did, and I mean, honestly, I feel like it was totally deserved. I mean, if you're a caddy, you're not the story. No one is there to see you. No one is there to see you. You need to.
I gotta stop because we can't just give Joel Damon's caddy all that praise and then you just come out here and say that
because
not the story. Like,
Joel Damon's caddy is not making himself the story. He's not acting the fool to make himself the story. He's that. I mean, Gino is that quintessential guy behind the guy, propping him up and basically dragging him across the finish line and getting him to be a better person. Where LaCava is just, and it pains me to say this about a fellow Giants fan in LaCava, but is just acting like a complete idiot. I mean, you got to clear the stage. You got to clear the stage. There's just no two ways about it.
I take back my previous comment. I apologize.
That's fine.
Yeah, shout out to Saquon Barkley for going to the Eagles, though.
Did you have to? Did you have to? It's too soon.
See what Tiki Barber said?
No, I can only imagine. Yeah. Well, what did he say?
He was just like, you're a traitor, like no one ever really liked you to begin with, or something like that, like stuff like that.
Well, I'd say that probably wraps it up for.
I don't know that Tiki can talk a lot about cheating. Yep. I don't know that Tiki can really talk a lot about fidelity. He might need to watch. He might need to watch what he's saying. But that hurts.
Yeah, that definitely wraps up Full Swing. We're just going to get into some sports talk now. March Madness is coming up. Madison, I know you're... where'd you go to college?
VCU.
Oh. Are they going to get any teams into the tournament this year?
Are they going to get any teams into it? What do you mean?
Are any of their teams going to the tournament?
I
Men's or
haven't
women's?
looked, honestly. I don't know how they did in the A10. I'd have to look. We'll see.
Mike, where did you go?
Aren't they an outside shot?
I got no clue.
Isn't the VCU men's team at least an outside shot at getting
They
getting a
typically
bid?
are. Yeah.
So, where did I go? I went to one of, I think, 2 Division One NCAA schools that's been in Division One since the beginning of the men's basketball tournament that has never made the field. College of William and Mary. So I've watched us get close a couple times. I've watched us lose in the CAA finals. Yeah, just year after year heartbreak.
It's always tough.
It
Well,
is.
rest of the
It
week,
is.
we've got players. Mike and I will be heading down to the Outer Banks for a TaylorMade weekend. 3 rounds of golf in the Outer Banks, starting with Currituck Club, then Kilmarlock, and then I think the point we finish with on Sunday. We will also go through a fitting for the TaylorMade QI10 driver. So hopefully we'll get some videos out and we can get that out on YouTube for everyone to see. But definitely hoping that we survive it and no one ends up in the hospital.
I think that's all we're asking for, really. If both of us can actually finish 54 holes and make it back to Richmond on 2 legs, I think we're doing pretty good. So
Yeah, I think that's where
definitely
we set the
looking
benchmark.
forward to it, though. Yeah, definitely looking forward to it, though. I haven't
Just
been
get
fitted for
a
a driver in ages. Really excited about that.
handicap flag, and you'll be just fine.
There we go. There we go. That's what I need. So, Sterling, any big plans this weekend?
Hey, thanks for asking, Mike. I got nothing.
Sterling's going to be our
Well,
man, keeping a close eye on the players while Madison and I are
Yeah.
trying to be players.
I'm looking. I hope we already talked about Minwoo enough on this episode, but if he can play just as well as he did last year, I'd be a great weekend at home for me, honestly. Maybe play some pickleball. Play pickleball on Monday. Pretty good.
nice.
I didn't pick you for a pickleball guy. Or have we been over this?
Sterling
Tell him
lives
that.
in the kitchen. He lives in the kitchen.
On and off the court.
Oh, man. Well, got some good stuff
Meatballs,
to look forward to this week.
pickleballs,
Nope, no more.
mac and cheese balls.
Nope. No. Well, good things to look forward to this week. Make sure you check us out on all the socials, 2-in-1 or 2-in-1 Golf, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. New video just came out on Saturday. Sterling trying to break 60. Make sure you get out and check that one. It looks like it's doing pretty well. I have it up on the screen right now.
Yeah,
So
what
it
do we
looks
got?
like
Give us the live feedback. Whatever.
it was 158 when I refreshed it last. So doing pretty well.
Love to see that.
Mike and I are going to try and get some content while we're down, like I said. So hopefully we'll get some videos up for the next couple weeks. But like I said, check us out on all the socials, 2in1golf.com. I'm sure Mike is hammering away at the keys, getting us some new
Always.
posts for there.
You know it.
But until then,
let's be honest.
yeah,
there will be a new post at some point. As soon as I have an idea.
As
As soon as I have an idea, we will have a new post.
There we go.
there we go. There we go. Yeah. But until then, we will see you all in 2 weeks.
That's right.
See you guys.
And we're out.
All right.
Hit it hard.
All right.
Stop the recording.